Buddy Kofoid cashes in at the Eagle Nationals. Cody Day tries to fly like an eagle, and it is a huge week in the world of sprint car racing. Let's get into it today on this episode of the High Limit Room. All right, welcome back to the High Limit Room. I am Chase Rodman, the announcer for the series. Later on in the show, we will be joined by Brian Walker and Tony Laporta to talk about all things going on in sprint car racing. Before we get into our race recaps, it is a big week of racing, and that is why High Limit Racing is off for the week. 3 big races around the country, 2 of them taking place at the Houston Speedway in South Dakota, and another big race over at the Skagit Speedway in Washington. Many of the high rollers will be in action at both venues. Also, don't forget about Ohio Sprint Speed Week, which is live all week on FloRacing. Bryce Lucius able to grab a win last night at Millstream Speedway to kick things off for Ohio Sprint Speed Week. The rest of that whole racing series is live on Flo for the rest of the week. Also, Eastern Storm with USAC Sprint Cars starts on Tuesday night as well. You can catch all of that action live on Flo as well. Now, let's get into our one race that we need to recap, and of course, that is the Eagle Nationals at Eagle Raceway in Nebraska. And this race truly has become the crown jewel of the Roto-Rooter Midweek Series with a $55,555 payday on the line with a huge field of 43 cars that were in attendance, including 5 drivers from the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series to make things a little bit more interesting throughout the night. Did want to give a shout out to start this recap off to high roller Brenham Crouch, who grabbed his first career Capital Custom Trailer Quick Time Award of his career and ended up tying his best finish of the season with a 9th place run in the feature event. In the heat races, the winners were Gio Selzy, Brad Sweet, Anthony Macri, and Aaron Reitzel. And before the feature even went green, we had some drama as Rico Abrew, who came into the night second and just 2 points behind Brad Sweet in the point standings, was unable to transfer in through the B main, and he would have to utilize a provisional to make the show. And also drama for Kyle Larson before the night really even got started. And in hot laps, he had a problem with the engine, had to pull off the track, and then in qualifying, that issue was still there, had to transfer in through the B main. He got into a wreck in the feature as well, and so Larson was unable to keep his streak of Eagle Raceway victories alive. He would end up way down the order after a crash would take him out of the feature, and he would not finish the main event. In the feature, though, it was Buddy Kofoid and Brad Sweet leading the field to green. High Limit versus the Outlaws at its finest there. The points leader with High Limit and second in points with the Outlaws' Buddy Kofoid. But early into the race, Cody Day would make quick work of Brad Sweet and move into second on lap number 3 of the feature. And from there, it was a cat and mouse game. Cody Day being the cat and Buddy Kofoid being the mouse. Pull up old Tom and Jerry episodes, and that's exactly what you would see here. The track was in impeccable condition, super wide with a nice bottom and a pretty treacherous top of the racetrack to run as well. Kofoid would do everything he could through extremely thick lap traffic, but it was not enough to keep Cody Day at bay, as he would throw a slider or two, pull up next to Kofoid several times, and they would battle for 28 straight green flag laps all the way through traffic until a yellow for a 5-car pileup in turn 1. Including the lights of Spencer Baston, Danny Sams, Carson Macedo, Chase Randall, and the aforementioned Kyle Larson. This is the wreck that would take him out of the race as well. A pretty big pile up there, and that would be the only yellow of this feature event. On the restart, actually, that wasn't the only one. There was a red we'll get to here in just a moment. But on the restart, Kofoid would kind of stretch his legs a little bit there without any traffic hindering his progress, but it would not take Cody Day too long to track him back down. With about 8 laps to go, Cody Day would attempt a huge slider into turns 3 and 4. It would come up short, and Kofoid would drive around him on the outside. And a lap later, Day would find himself in the billboards outside of turn number 3 in gnarly fashion. One of the biggest wrecks of the season, as Day would get the backstretch wall. It would suck the right front end. He would flip over the guardrail and get into the billboards outside the third corner, which would end his bid at a $55,000 payday. But man, was Cody Day the show in this one. He would get out of the car, he was fine, and he would let the fans know that he's racing for for, big money, he's not going to back down in a situation like that. But Cody Day, that was unfortunate to see him out of the race after having such a great chance to get the win. On the restart, it was Anthony Macri, the Durst Dice Roll driver, that would take a few shots at Kofoid and briefly edge ahead for the race lead there on the restart, but it would not be enough as Kofoid would drive away to get the win in the end. Macri would end up second from 8th. Aaron Reitzel was 3rd, Brad Sweet 4th, and Tyler Courtney would round out the top 5 in this main event. And Tanner Thorson, surprise, surprise, he was the hard charger once again, going 18th to 6th in the main event. He now has 6 top 10 finishes in a row between the Outlaws and High Limit. Thorson also moves to 2nd in the midweek Money Series standings behind Rico Abrew after Abrew did not have a very good night himself over there at Eagle Raceway. Now leaving Eagle, Brad Sweet's point lead is now 10 over Tyler Courtney, 13 over Aaron Reitzel, 30 over Rico Abrew, and 35 over Brent Marks, with 3 nights at Lucas Oil Speedway on the horizon on June 27th, 28th, and 29th, with the June 27th event being a Roto-Rooter midweek series event as well. So 3 straight nights at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks, that being Lucas Oil Speedway. So that is the things that have happened when it comes to high limit racing action since the last time we did a high limit racing or high limit room episode, and before we get into our second segment of the show, wanted to remind you, if you do not have one already, this would be a very smart time to get yourself a FloRacing subscription. You've got the Dirt Cup at Skagit this week. We've got Eastern Storm going on this week. You've got Ohio Sprint Speed Week going on as well this week. Just this week alone would be worth it for your FloRacing subscription. So make sure to go to FloRacing.com and get yourself a sub, and you can watch all USAC, all of High Limit, all of the NARC King of the West stuff as well. There is a lot. If you like more than just dirt racing, they got the Cars Tour, they've got dirt bike stuff, they've got flat track dirt bikes and all that good stuff as well. So FloRacing is the place to be when it comes to your favorite channel on your TV over the next couple of weeks. Make sure to get FloRacing subscription at FloRacing.com. Now, in this second segment of the show, you know about the Angel Donor. If you watch High Limit Racing on a regular basis, you know that every single time a High Limit Racing regular gets a win, he gets to donate $1,000 of an Angel Donor's money to a charity of his choice. And earlier on this year during Media Day, we got to sit down with all of the drivers that are full-timers with High Limit Racing, and they get to talk about and discuss why they chose the charity of their choice. Let's check it out.
As a high roller, you get to send $1,000 of our Angel Donors money to any charity, any U.S. charity you want to support.
High Limit Racing, we have an Angel Donor that donates to our charity of choice when a full-time High Limit guy wins a race. And just, it's awesome that this person does that, and it's a good way for us as teams or drivers to give back to the charities that matter most to us. And mine is the same as last year. It's Today's Champions. It is a charity that raises awareness for autism. Our good friend of Colossal Marshall Racing and myself is Ben Hodgen. He has autism himself, and they have todayschampion.org is a website you can go check them out to see what they're doing to raise awareness for autism.
My charity for the Angel Donor is Jackson's Superhero Foundation. Is a foundation driven around a family that is a massive fan of me, that drives awareness to muscular dystrophy. And I just think it's really, really important that there's awareness driven around that disease for people that are unaware, that are dealing with those circumstances, to help those people. And that's what Jackson Superhero Foundation specializes in.
Without a doubt, I do Texas Children's Hospital. My reason is our first son, Carson. He spent quite a bit of time in there, and it's an incredible place. Everything they do for you while you're in there, I mean, just get you a place to stay if need be, food, just the true genuine care that they give to your children like it's their own. And it's without a doubt, that's when my wife and I do donate, that is who we donate to. So without a doubt, that's where my charity is.
The charity I chose for the Angel Donor is the Race Redeemed Foundation, to help people fight addiction. I think any chance you get, you need to be able to support the people that support you, and the more awareness we can raise about addiction, the better, and the better the foundation can become.
Shriners Children's Hospitals, who I choose for my donation for the Angel Donor. It's been a really cool thing that's been added to high limit racing. This last year is really eye-opening for me and got me thinking, a lot more about a lot of other things that go on in the world. And I think we need that sometimes in our little racing world, that, maybe a good night or a bad night at the racetrack, isn't as meaningful as what's going on at a lot of these places. So keep things in perspective, and it's really just an honor to be able to, win a race and then give back to a charity that has truly done so much for me. So I really can't thank the Angel Donor enough, and obviously hope more and more people get behind the support of what we're trying to do, those initiatives of giving back to those, foundations that need, people like us and series like us and fans like us to keep, donating and making sure that those kids and those special, needs are taken care of.
My charity for the Angel Donor is Central PA Down Syndrome Awareness Group. I have a close relationship with a kid named Christian back home in Pennsylvania. He is could be having a bad day, bad night at the races, and he comes by, asks for a picture, and just brightens my day. Or if we win a race, he's always there in victory lane to get his picture. So anything I can do to help him, his group, I want to. And I just appreciate that relationship. I appreciate his support and his parents' support, especially his mother. They're great people, and I love to try to support great people. So they're the first ones that I look to whenever there's an opportunity for the help for any donations. So that's gonna be my pick.
All right, getting into the third segment of today's show here on the High Limit Room. This section of the show, we talk about some of the best bets that may have hit over the last week or so, and we talk about just things going on in sprint car racing, along with High Limit Racing talk as well. We're now joined by the pit reporter with High Limit Racing, of course, that is Tony Laporta, and social media guy, Brian. Well, I'm not going to say expert anymore, but social media guy for High Limit, that is Brian Walker. I am at home. Tony, you are not at home. You're never at home. Where the heck are you at right now?
I am in a little town called Molalla, Oregon. I'm up here to celebrate a very, very, very good friend's 60 and a half birthday party year. I don't know what you call it. But I flew straight here after we got done at Eagle, and I've been up in the trees in Oregon. I actually fly back to Indy today. But really, really great to be on the West Coast, where James McFadden has been dominating. But Chase, I know you're going to want to talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian, you are in an interesting situation as well. You got a huge pay raise from High Limit, and now you have a house.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. I'm on my probably third day of living here. I bought a house in Avon. I just couldn't stand being away from Tony, so I had to move back closer to him. And the shop's like 15 minutes down the road too. But I'm very excited to be back in Indy. I love it here.
All right, yeah, Brian's got a new house he's hanging out in. There's not much in the background there because he's only 3 days removed from being in there. But, Brian, let's get into some of the odds from Eagle Raceway. If you want to get involved with High Limit Racing and play for real money, go to nxtbets.com/playhlr. While you are there, it'll show you which sportsbooks are available in your region, and it'll give you a sign-on bonus as well while you are there. Brian, Buddy Kofoid got the win at Eagle, and if I remember correctly, his odds were actually pretty high, and I think I saw a couple people actually hit on him when he got the win there.
Yeah, Buddy opened at around plus 1,500. So, I mean, for a guy, for his talents right now, he's running second in Outlaw points. That was his 5th win of the year. He's one of the best in the country. That's really good odds, as good as you're going to get for a guy like Buddy. And it was, like you mentioned, it was cool. I had several people tag, I think, either the High Limit account or just me, posting their slips, how the buddy won them some money. So if you ever get any W's and make some cash off of High Limit, make sure and tag us, and we'll celebrate those with you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool to see a couple people making some money off that one. Now let's kind of get into Eagle here a little bit. Tony, what an incredible show that was. I know it's about a week removed here, but we haven't had a High Limit Room episode since then. But just incredible stuff there between, of course, Kofoid. You get Cody Day up there in the mix, and then towards the end of the race, Anthony Macri was trying to cash in on the Durst dice roll for the third time this year. But just ferocious action over there at Eagle Raceway.
Chase, ferocious as always, just a wonderful word selection by yourself. I agree completely. After each race is over, when Brian Walker has the time amid his incredibly jam-packed schedule of producing all the social content he records after the checkers, well, I asked him after Eagle, who do you want to go shoot after the checkers with? And he said, Cody Day, he was the show. And man, that was no joke, right? Cody Day drove that sprint car. You know, I haven't been around forever. You know, I haven't seen all the greats like you guys. But watching Cody Day rip around that place in second, just trying to hang with Buddy Kofoid and get around him, I felt like that was the hardest I've ever seen Cody Day drive a sprint car. Again, probably doesn't mean a lot coming from me, but I was thoroughly entertained watching him. He did stuff with that race car down around the bottom that we so rarely see him do. He loves ripping around the top. He loves going around the high side, and he was bound and determined to go get that win and, do whatever he had to do it. Ended up not working out. Crazy, spectacular crash. One of the more wild ones you said you'd ever seen, Chase. But yeah, Eagle, great surface for the feature. Awesome field of cars. Incredible crowd like always. I don't know. I guess that's why they call it one badass racetrack.
I guess that is why they call it that. Brian, I'm not sure where you were at during the feature, but did you see the Cody Day Crash live in person, or did you have to see the replay?
No, on Twitter. I needed to see the replay. I looked away for like a one brief second. I think I was watching Macri or something coming into third, and I looked up or I heard red on the radio. I heard Mike Hess call red, and I saw a car land like just upside down on the billboard. And I'm like, oh shit, who is it? And I quickly caught on it was Cody Day, and then I went straight to the video board, and I was like, oh, wow. But I did not see it live.
Yeah, Cody Day must have been listening to the Steve Miller Band. He wanted to fly like an eagle that night over there. Unfortunately, things did not work out for him. Another guy that things did not work out for, which was kind of a surprise there, Tony, was Rico Abrew. He had to use a provisional to make the show. Came in, 2 points behind Brad Sweet in the championship fight. He was leading, or still is leading the midweek series points, but I mean, that B-Main had a bunch of cars in it. When you get a 43-car field with a bunch of outlaw guys in it and some of the best Midwest travelers, Rico just could not make up the ground, and the B-Main had to use a provisional and still did not run very well. And that was pretty shocking because I feel like that's a track you would expect Rico to be pretty spectacular at.
I mean, and look at it, Chase. When you go back on our schedule, last Tuesday was Eagle. Rico had to use a provisional. You go back less than 1 week before that on Thursday when we're in Maribel at 141, and out there, Rico had to race in from the B main. Now, in the weekend in between, he stays in Wisconsin. He beats some outlaws and has a really good weekend. But boy, what a tough couple of nights with High Limit for Rico, because when do you see that guy in the B main, right? So really uncharacteristic, and they've had a great year as a high roller. So yeah, that's wild to see. But I think it just, again, shows the level of competition, not just within High Limit, but when you've got all the guys that come in, like you said, Buddy Kofoid represents the Outlaws. He gets the win. Anthony Macri, Austin McCarl, so many, I don't love the term invaders, but just so many full-time sprint car guys that don't run allegiance to one schedule. Yeah, Eagle and Wisconsin the week before, really, really tough fields, really good racing.
Brian, another guy that had issues over there at Eagle was Kyle Larson, and things started off really bad for him. Hot laps, he broke. They tried to fix it for qualifying, still was not going his way. Had to transfer in through the B main as well. And a guy that had never lost at Eagle, had 3 starts there, 3 wins, gets caught up in a wreck in the A-Main. That was pretty shocking to see, Kyle Larson. You don't see that car really have many mechanical issues, but it certainly had its fair share there on Tuesday night. And Larson's streak of winning at Eagle Raceway has come to an end in a pretty, unfortunate way over there.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how important putting yourself in position is early in the night with qualifying. I mean, stuff happened in hot laps. They got behind. I think the motor still wasn't running right in qualifying, right? He had to go out near the end and still didn't lay down that good of a lap. I think he was up to like 15th or so, I want to say, in the A-Main. So he was coming forward. Would have been nice to see maybe if he doesn't. I don't know what happened with that big pileup we had in turn 1, obviously. It would have been interesting to see how far he got. JP before the race, he tried to strike a bet with me that Kyle was going to get to the podium. I thought there was no way in the world that was happening. It would have been nice to see if he could have pulled that off, though. If anyone can do it, it's him.
Absolutely. Let's wrap things up here on Eagle with a guy that we've talked about a lot here on the High Limit Room, and he was one of the main talking points on social media after the race was Tanner Thorson. Another hard charger award, 18th to 6th. In his last 6 finishes, I've got it written on my whiteboard over here, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 8th, 9th, and 6th for Thorson between the Outlaws and High Limit. And now, Tony, he is all of a sudden second in the midweek series point standings. I want to say 30-ish behind Rico Abrew heading into Lucas Oil Speedway the next time we go out for that midweek series.
Yeah, he's just been really strong lately. And I talked to Britton Marvel, his crew chief, right-hand man. Tanner calls a lot of the shots on the setup, so they're not big into titles over there. But Britton Marvel is the first in line right next to Tanner on that Rod Gross Motorsports number 88, right? And I just said, hey, level with me, right? Because we all, like, the 3 of us all know what it's like to walk through the pits and talk to a driver, talk to a crew, and they give you kind of a polished answer. And that's mostly because they don't want to air out what the real problem's been. If it's been a weak engine, they don't want to burn their engine builder. If it's been problems with the frame, they don't want to put a negative spotlight on the chassis builder, which, like, that's the game, right? You got to play it like that. But I looked at Britton Marvel and I said, hey, level with me. What's been going on, right? And he said, we have found how to do small things better to improve our engine program. And I take that as those guys found things that they didn't like, how they were doing themselves, Tanner, Britton, TJ. And it's not a comment on their engine manufacturer. It's just a comment on what they've been doing, maybe maintenance-wise, maybe just procedurally during the course of a race. And Britton said, we found things that we didn't like how we were doing. We've cleaned those up. He also shined a big spotlight on TJ Nichols, the young crew member who's joined them at the start of this year. And Britton just talked about how all of those things, seeing TJ kind of come into the role, improve their engine program a little bit better, has given Tanner a ton of confidence. And it's a cliche. Sometimes it's hard to believe, like, oh man, how much can it really matter? Confidence is a huge deal. Tanner is not just confident in how the car will perform, but in the fact that it'll hold together, and the fact that what those guys are doing in the pit area is working, right? And it's giving him the car that'll stay underneath him, not give up, not have a part failure, not have something go wrong on it. So Tanner doesn't have to worry about, hey, is this thing going to stay apart or stay together underneath me? And then when they're not chasing a ghost of a problem, they're able to improve the car. So it's been really great to see Tanner Thorson, Britton Marvel, TJ Nichols, that whole RGM number 88 team do so well. And just, I don't know, Chase, if you remember, things move so fast and you're ripping up there in the booth. But I think it was heat race number 3 that Thorson was in with Ryan Timms and Brady Bacon. And like, Thorson was, I mean, it was a full-on contact sport out there in that heat race. And it's because he knew that he has to transfer in through the main if he doesn't want to go back to the first part of the season where he was getting hard charger awards and winning B mains and making the night really long on himself. So those guys have worked and worked and worked to get that number 88 in a better place. And I really think the results are speaking for themselves right now.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch those guys. And also did want to give a shout out to wrap things up on the Eagle to Brenham Crouch, who was the fastest qualifier overall the first of his high limit racing career, and he ended up 9th in the feature, tying his best finish of the year. So nice job to the CJB Motorsports team. Brian, some other racing that happened over the weekend. Knoxville Raceway had a 64-car field for what is essentially the final tune-up before the Nationals for those national touring guys on the Outlaw Tour and the High Limit Tour. The wins went to David Gravel, and then Corey Day, after that big wreck at Eagle, was able to rebound with a new car and get a win there. Great racing there, and it gives us a good idea of who is going to be pretty tough come Knoxville Nationals time. I know Kyle Larson wasn't there, and he's won the last 2 Nationals, but obviously David Gravel, we know he's going to be good. But Corey Day was very good in last year's Nationals and then gets a win during the June week for the 2nd year in a row. Those 2 guys are going to be obviously dangerous come August.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that there are people in this world that don't like the action Knoxville Raceway produces. I mean, I was watching Saturday's show at the house and on my phone, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. We are 3 wide, almost 4 wide, throwing sliders, ripping through lap traffic. It was incredible watching David chase down Corey. Yeah, I mean, as far as Nationals, man, I feel like it's what the two did on Friday night, going from 8th to 1st the way he did, and then still chasing down Corey on Saturday. He didn't get there, but he got pretty close. I mean, they're on another level right now, especially there. And obviously, like you said, Kyle wasn't there, but he's won the last 2 Nationals. I know he lost in April to Rico. I expect Rico to be good in August, obviously. The 57 looked like the best car in April when he was there. I think it's a battle of Titans between those 2. And then, like you said, there's going to be Corey Day, Buddy Kofoid, Brad Sweet, Tyler Courtney, Aaron Reitzel, Logan Schuhart. It's August in Knoxville. Donnie Schatz, I'm sure, will do something. There's a legion of guys that are going to be worth keeping an eye on when it comes the best 10 days of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. August is coming up quick for the Knoxville Nationals. And then some other racing taking place this week is the Dirt Cup over at Skagit, which is the newest $100,000 to win race of the year. And it's a non-national touring $100,000 to win race, which is the only one of the year, Tony, which is obviously very, very interesting. And they've got, it's going to be a very good field. We've got, I think, 4 high rollers going over there. Brent Marks was announced, Danny Sams, Justin Peck, and I think Cy Lynch might be going as well, if I'm not mistaken. But gonna got some high rollers over there. And then you got former high roller James McFadden gonna be there as well. And boy, has he been just ridiculous since getting into Tarleton Racing 21. Just won 4 out of the 5 days over at the fastest 5 days in motorsports in Oregon/Washington. Looking forward to Dirt Cup there, Tony, because like we said, I mean, you could see a first-time 6-figure payday winner over there at that race, and we're looking forward to seeing who gets the win.
Man, how just great is the stuff that Kevin Rudin is doing for the sport right now. I mean, he's a guy that we talked about a little bit, unfortunately not a lot, when we had the Race Rudin Foundation back in Wisconsin. I guess that'd be 2 weeks ago now, technically. But yeah, Kevin and everybody out at Skagit's doing a ton for the sport, like always, right? And so for a non-national touring schedule event to be $100,000 to win, and yeah, I just happened to wake up this morning and I'm scrolling social media, and I don't know if it came out last night. I don't know if it came out 2 days ago. I've been kind of unplugged. But yeah, to see Brent Marks is going to head all the way west from central Pennsylvania, where that car is based, and go out there to compete in a non-points paying $100,000 to win race. Obviously, the money tells you why they're going out there. And as somebody brought up in the comments section, because the comment section of any post on the internet is where you should go to get your opinions and basis on things. A lot of people were debating, hey, like, he's going out there to, have a chance at some big money, but he's also going out there to get ready for another shot at big money when Kubota High Limit Racing goes out there for the Skagit Nationals. Kind of surprising, but not surprising to see Brent Marks and then Chase. I know you mentioned Cy Lynch, another Pennsylvania-based team. It just shows you how big these events are getting and how much they mean to these drivers and teams to go have the chance to make big money and then prepare for another chance to win some big money. Really, really cool to see what Skagit is doing.
It's worth mentioning as well. I think Chase mentioned it or online or something. We're up to, since the Bob Weichert Memorial got bumped up, we're at 9 6-figure paydays this year, which is the most in the history of sprint car racing. And also, for the first time ever with Skagit going on, we have 3 $100,000 paydays in a single week. That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that's big. And also the 10th, we actually have 10 $100,000 to win races if you include Perth Motorplex down there. Yeah. but that's Australian money. But still, we'll call it 100,000. Also, did want to give a shout out because Corey Larson will be there as well, former high roller. He'll be running Shannon Wheatley's number 45 car as well. That'll be his first race in that machine. So Skagit, got to keep an eye on that. Going to be fun to see who comes out on top in that one. And of course, the other big races this week, the Huset's Hustle and the High Bank Nationals. 4 nights over there at Huset Speedway. Going to be a big field of cars. Going to have a lot of the high limit drivers in that as well. Rico's going to be there. Tyler Courtney, Brad Sweet, Aaron Reitzel, Chase Randall, who just got a win last night at Huset Speedway. I think he's going to be good as well. Brian, like you just mentioned, 2 opportunities this week to get a 6-figure payday against a really stacked field of cars at a fantastic facility. Going to be all eyes, well, not all eyes, maybe one eye on Huset's and one eye on Dirt Cup, but it's going to be a fun week.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see how I think this week plays out too at Huset's, because of it. Last year was supposed to be the first year this happened, as far as we have a Wednesday, Thursday show for $100,000, and then we have the Friday, Saturday for $250,000. Obviously, last year with the flood happened, and that didn't get to happen. So, like, I think Kyle Larson, for example, was only running Wednesday, Thursday. Christopher Bell, I know, was only running Wednesday, Thursday. So we really do have 2 different fields, essentially, lining up for 2 different chances at big money. And Huset's is a track that, I mean, you could get one thing, you could get another. You got to play it by ear every single night you unload. So you really don't know, I think, who is going to be the favorites, what's going to happen with the track. I mean, obviously, you kind of have your idea between David Gravel. I mentioned Larson, Seabell. Last year, Tyler Courtney won the first prelim night. He was sitting pretty until the rain came. So it's going to be exciting to watch. I love that it's 4 nights, so much racing. Todd Queering's done a great job building that event up. It's such an incredible facility. It's for a short track. Like, it's one of the best bull ring facilities we have in America. So it's exciting to see what they're doing at Huset's.
It really is. Buddy Kofoid, the defending winner of the High Bank Nationals, probably should have been the 2-time defending one, but blew up an engine in 2023 during that race. So Kofoid will definitely be very tough to beat over there, but we've got a lot of high-limit contenders that are going to be in the field, along with Dirt Cup. And what I like about these 2 races, Tony, is 2 very different but very impressive fields in both of them. You get all the NART guys at Dirt Cup. You get the Skagit locals, who are underrated, in my opinion, with Trey Starks up there and Justin Youngquist, Jesse Schlotfeld, Colby Thornhill. I can keep going on and on about all those guys, plus some high rollers, plus some guys that are just kind of show up for... I heard Scott Boguski is going to be there for some reason, randomly at Skagit Speedway, so it's going to be a good field there, and obviously a good field at Huset's. So it's just kind of weird to have 2 extremely good fields at 2 very different venues across the country going the same week. It's going to be can't miss television, going to have 2 screens up all week long.
3 heads, 4 sets of eyes. I mean, those and many other requirements will be needed to consume all of this racing action. But again, I go back to that comment section because I live for the comment sections on posts about things to do in our sport. They're really a kind of a hotbed of high brain function. And in that same post about Brent going out west to run at Skagit, someone goes, I can't believe Skagit would schedule this on top of Huset's. Or maybe they were going against Huset's and saying, I can't believe Huset's would schedule this on top of Skagit. Well, it's like, one, I don't know the mileage distance between the 2 of them, right? But I mean, there might have been a little teeny tiny percentage of, we could have gotten those guys over there. But again, those are the guys like Brent, like Cy, like Corey Eliason, because all your West Coast locals, they were going to be at Skagit more than likely. And everybody from the middle of the country over to the East Coast, they were going to go to Huset's no matter what. And I don't think either track deserves any blame. I think Huset's deserves a lot of credit, and I think Skagit deserves a lot of credit for making these huge, high purse, big, important race weekends. And eventually, like you guys were just counting about the numbers, what'd you say, Chase? $100,000 to win shows this year, at least right now in June is what's on the calendar. Soon, these tracks and these events are going to run out of calendar space, right? So nobody should be taking shots at Huset's. Nobody should be taking shots at Skagit because they just happen to fall on the same weekend. It's always a super busy summer. Everybody's trying to get these events in when they can. And the fact you got a couple 6-figure payday to win races thousands of miles apart from each other, falling on the same weekend. It's not as bad of a thing as it is a good thing for the sport, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I just want to touch on that really quick. It's like absolutely the point that these are on the same weekend for a very good reason, that for these West Coast teams, these guys in NARC that come up from California, the Skagit locals, like Chase mentioned, this is an incredible payday for guys who otherwise do not have the potential to race for that, like when High Limit goes out there at Skagit Nationals and takes up so much of the top 10. On top of $100,000 to win, which, I mean, obviously you kind of figure a team that is very good and doing all right is going to win. It pays $3,000 to start.
Yeah.
It pays $40,000 for second, $20,000
what about
for third.
Don't forget about the lap money as well, which is insane.
That's Skagit.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much money to be had for teams that don't always get the opportunity to race for it. So I think it's 100% the point that they're on the same weekend. I love that they're on the same weekend. I hope it remains this way and they both continue to flourish, because they absolutely both can.
Yeah, and it gives better opportunity for some other guys to make a good payday, either, between the two places. I want to say the lap money at Skagit, I think it's $300 to lead a lap, $200 for second every time you cross the line, $100 for third when you cross the line. So
that's
you
crazy.
It's insane. Yeah, I mean,
and there's like a $3,000 360 bonus too.
Yeah, I'm trying to do some math real quick. I think the race is 40 laps. If you led all 40, you times that by $300. It'd be an extra $12,000 just to lead every lap of the feature, plus the $100,000 to win. So good stuff over there at Skagit. Nice job by Kevin Radine. Blake Anderson's over there as well. So I guess that's all I've got in my little notebook here of things to talk about in this third segment. The next time High Limit Racing is in action is going to be on the 26th of June. 3 straight nights over at the Diamond Classic at Lucas Oil Speedway. We're looking forward to getting over there. That Thursday night portion is going to be a Roto-Rooter midweek series event. And then the next 2 nights will be obviously normal points as well for Kubota High Limit Racing. Looking forward to getting back over there. That place put on some spectacular action last year in the 2 races that we ran, and so we are looking forward to getting back over there to Missouri. So Tony and Brian, thanks for jumping on here. We'll talk to you guys again next week. We'll do a little race preview of Lucas Oil Speedway. We'll talk about all the results and all the happenings between Dirt Cup and Houston Speedway. Thanks for jumping on, guys, and we'll talk to you next week here on the High Limit Room.